Hey, everybody, come gather around. I've got a few things to say about Carol. I know everybody's so proud and excited. She's graduated. Yay, got her bachelor's degree. We're also very excited for her. Um, she she just has been done more than we could ever expect and really just blew it out the water. She is a Mountaineer graduate. Go Mountaineers. Graduating class of 2022. My baby girl, right? All right. You know, Carol's road to success, I think, has been planted in her fierce independence. She has been independent from the day she was born, I believe. I've got a few stories for everybody to remember back on, starting back when she was about 3.5 years old, our very first family trip to White Lake. She started out being a little bit nervous about getting in the water, which we realized later now that we got grandkids is the way they all kind of start out. But by the end of the weekend, they're jumping off the deep end. And she was no different. She started by peeking through and going and then jumping in my arms or daddy's arms or one of her brothers or sister's arms. Then she got to where you had to be careful because she was jumping off the side with nobody there. Just loving the water and still loves the water today. But the big story there is that she was with all her cousins and siblings, brothers and sisters, in that back room that we put y'all in so we us grown-ups could get some peace. And she sneaks out. Not one of the older ones pay attention at all. Sneaks out and goes to the water. So when Grammy goes in to try to get her to bring her in there because y'all were being a little loud, you all didn't even notice that she was gone. So we found her as she was just tipping her toes into the water and got her and brought her back. So she was Miss Independent. She was bound and determined to get in that water. And then there was the time that we went to the fair with the family. And Daddy and I thought, well, we'll put you on the little rides because you're only probably about 4 or 5 years old. And you sat there and looked like you were bored to tears beyond recognition. It was hilarious. We were sitting there just looking, and you had your little hand and your face, and you just were bored. You wanted to do the big rides. So we got on the ones that they would let you with one of us, and you loved it. You had that sense of adventure and fearlessness. Then there was the salamander incident. She comes running in the house with this big black salamander that looked like a big old snake with legs, trying to bite her, right? Remember, Carol? And so I had to convince her that it couldn't live in the house and that she had to eventually let it go. But we put it in a little habitat for a few hours, and now she still has a love for the reptiles and the herbivores and whatnot. Then there was the time that Uncle Ken had to stop her from grabbing the snake in the yard, and we all know how just terrified of snakes Uncle Ken is. He like to had a heart attack because nobody was close enough to get her, but you stopped, you listened just in time. So then there was the Girl Scouts. She was, Carol, what, you were about 7 years old, 8 years old when we were in Girl Scouts. She was the only Girl Scout in her troop that tried the rock climbing wall. The only one. She did not go along with the rest of the crowd. She did her own thing. She loved it. She got about halfway up, got a little scared, and came back down. But everybody was just so in awe of her. Her other little Girl Scouts were, I can't believe you did that, Carol. It was amazing. Just proves her independence. And then as she went along in high school, she did her own thing, just as usual. Always did prefer to be home or doing her own particular thing with band or whatever, and even went to her senior prom with her and a few girlfriends all by themselves and had the best time ever. She was independent. She didn't need the validation of someone else. And then it went on while she was living in Boone, our Appalachian state home, by herself pretty much. Do you remember the pandemic of coronavirus? She was basically in her apartment by herself and chose to stay there because it was truly safer. Was Mama worried? Of course she was. But she made it through it. She's just done a wonderful job, and she is an example that I'm hoping that these smaller kids, our grandkids, her great nieces and nephews, and um, her cousins' children will all follow and potentially become more the norm for our family to go to college, because it hasn't been. We haven't been a family that automatically thinks we can do it, that we are expected to go to college. This kind of changes things. We have an example of a successful person that came out of our family. I have gotten my degree. She has gotten hers. So now these children have role models to go after. And Carol's not done yet. She's going on to be an occupational therapist. She will be a doctor of occupational therapy. She will get her PhD in that field in about 3 years. Isn't that awesome? How amazing is that? We can't be more proud. Her siblings are just proud. But she couldn't have done it without the help of some other people. So Grammy and Papa T, every time we needed some financial assistance, some encouragement, some just love and affection and support, always there. Always there. Then they have the siblings, always so proud, and the nieces and nephews that are ecstatic when Aunt Carol even calls, not alone comes and visits and gives them the love and support only like Aunt Carol can do. We're proud of you. We are so proud of you. She's an example, like I said, and I can't even put into words how I feel, how proud I am for you, Carol. You have done this and taken responsibility beyond your years, beyond your means, even in some cases. We've made it work. We figured it out. You're resilient, and you will do well in this world, because resiliency is something that you have to be successful. And I know in my heart that will always be the case for you. You've got what it takes. We love you, Carol, and congratulations. Yay!